Hi, this is Sai Jayanth, and today I'm going to present a paper called The Scrum Software Development Process for Small Teams, which was written by Linda Rising and Norman S. Janoff. Both coming to the authors and journals, both the authors of this paper were a part of AG Communications group. They worked at that particular organization, and Linda Rising has a total publications of 148, and Norman S. Janoff has a total publications of 2. This paper was published in IEEE Science Journal, and this has been cited for 975 times. So, coming to the research question, for in this paper, they were trying to address how to solve the problems that we have during software development process. So coming for this process, they came with a question called research question: how to tackle recurring changes in requirements during the development process. So for this, the main motivation for the authors to address this problem was with the change, with the difficulties with the changes in the requirements, uh, which were uh, which were recurring, and the chaos that has been surrounded around the changes in requirements, and delivering the defined tasks within a given period of time. So, and also there was a lack of communication between the team members and the business and the development team. So these were the main motivations for them. So to handle this problem at the AG Communications, the team worked on and tried to adapt a Scrum development process. So what is a Scrum? It is a way that which we try to incrementally build tools within a challenging and complex environment. Scrum provides control over the things that needs to be done within a particular sprint, and a sprint is known as a period where we set short-term goals and work towards achieving them. So, uh, at AG Communications, there used to be a new business opportunities where they has to develop with a different kind of products uh, that for a telecommunications field. So they used to face many challenges and problems during their development life cycle. So many developers, they complained about the constant change in their requirements, which were changed in a very short period of time, and they had difficulties in coping up with those changes. They had more input from the people that were outside the team and as well as the organizations. Uh, they also had to cancel many projects due to a lack of discipline and not delivering the product within a particular period of time. So during the initial process, they used to have many features, but those features were not even uh, brought up into the development stage. So there used to be confusion with the estimation of the work. Usually they started estimating the work for years, but the timeline for the product used to be in months. For these kind of problems, there must be usually a person who has to be a go-to guy who can answer all these questions. But they were lacking the person who has to answer all these questions. But these NBOs who were failed during their development cycle, um, they also even failed to gain knowledge from the teams that were successful in developing their products. So let's talk about the teams that were successful. There are few teams within the NBOs which were successful, but they were in very few members. The process that successful to be successful during this process, they stressed about a few things. Those were changes to the estimation of a process was changed was changed during the estimations or during the development life cycle. They had to adapt to what they are doing. So they used to have a daily communication between the team members and as well as the business person, so that they could bring everything under one line. The changes were documented, the process was documented, so they even the new members or the old members, they couldn't miss what has to be done or what needs to be done within the particular period. So adapting to the Scrum process. So this Scrum development process, which was adapted by AG Communications prior, were developed by it was in collaboration between two teams, that's Advanced Development Methods and VMark Software. So they had a very high level success with this process. So, and when they compared the process that's been developed and the process that were achieved by the most successful teams within the NBOs, there used to be an overlap between them. And these changes are like the teams which follow this Scrum process, usually they are like a small teams with a size up to 10 members, so that they could achieve within the groups that's been intended for a specific target of a product or a feature that's in a product. So now let's talk about the Scrum process. So usually the Scrum process has 4 to 5 different stages. So the first stage is a planning stage, where they start architecting, or they come up with an architecture for the entire product or entire software tool that they intend to develop. And they usually have an person who's called chief architect, so that he could monitor or and do some changes for the architecture. So after the architecture has been designed, the development team is identified and it's being created. After that, a development process is planned within a short period of time, which are called sprints. And these sprints typically last from 1 to 4 weeks, depending on the target and the work that's been estimated. So each task is divided into small parts, and these these parts are to be developed within a particular sprint that's been intended for that. So the whole entire process is being monitored by a person who's called Scrum Master. He is most probably he'll be the manager of the team. He's the one who usually uh, creates or starts a, I mean like attends starts a meeting. These meetings are called Scrum meetings. They happen every day, and usually they discuss about what's the progress of the work, that is, what's been completed and what should be done within that day or within the next week. So for this, the AG Communications, first to test this process, they came up with they came up with an approach where they wanted to adopt this to uh, fewer teams, to see the results and how whether they can continue with this process or not. So first, they have adapted this process to 3 teams, which were named A, B, and C. The A team, they worked on a multi-platform simulator, which was for an internal use within the organization, for GTD5 EAX switching system. Uh, for that system software developers. So B team worked on a new product for a call center, and a C team worked on developing a new feature in GTD5 EX switching system. So let's talk about each team's experience with the Scrum process. So the A team went on to have an highest period of this pilot program. So they worked within 1 month, and at first each team member, they used to have a discomfort because they had a lot of meetings, uh, which they had to discuss the process. So later what they did is, for the comfort of the team members, they've changed it to alternative days, that's like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So with these meetings, the team saw increase in communication between the members, and there was an success rate that's been growing exponentially because of these in constant communications. So the team, at the end of this pilot program, they've completed the tasks within the proposed time, and they were successful in delivering them. And along with this, they also seen a volunteerism that's been increased within the team. That means whenever a person who has a problem within the team, when they've talked within those meetings, some other person who has faced this problem, um, like they voluntarily they helped them, they asked them, they communicated, or whoever person they knew under their team who faced the same problem helped them or guided them in solving those problems. So let's talk about B team experience. So for the B team experience, there was quite a different situation for B team, because within a week into the sprint, the organization, the company, made a big change which brought importance to the backlog items that has to be delivered. So what the B team came, uh, they had to break their sprint. They were in a confusion between breaking that sprint or going back to the old ways. But what they did is, in this process, they overcommitted themselves, as they were working on the sprint tasks as well as the backlog items. So there used to be more responsibilities for each team member, and which brought a delay in the items that were backlogged and the sprint. So what they came up with is the team's scrum master started tracking the progress of each backlog item in an Excel sheet, and he used to have a constant communication with everyone, asking them what's the process, what's the progress of your item, what's the progress of your development tasks. So with this meetings and with this communication, the team members, they were in a track without deviating to other tasks, and they used to have a specific goals for the sprint and as well as the backlog items. Let's see a C team experience. The C team experience was very successful when compared with B. A and C were both successful because the Scrum for the C team, it was applied for testing and bug fixing of a feature that they've developed, and they had 4 testings within 8 days. So every day they used to have a 30-minute Scrum meeting where they've discussed the load of their testing and how much progress that they have been doing and how many bugs that they have collected as far. So these meetings were to remind everyone of their plan to the each team member, and to discuss about the progress of each team members. So these meetings helped in sharing the information between the team members and as well as with the Scrum Master as well. So the Scrum Master, they announced the last load, and they have informed everyone from the outside of the group that might have been uh, communicating within over emails. So let's for, to the for all these steps, the AG Communications saw a imminent success of adapting the Scrum process for their development lifecycle. So this Scrum process helped the entire team in adapting to the goals, to set a short-term goals and work to achieve them. So they have seen improvement in increase in productivity of the team members, increase in productivity of the entire organization. With the speed of the work in which they had to complete has been increased at least by 20%. And there's a saying that's been called working with chaos. or make the chaos go away, give us better requirements. So with this Scrum process, they were successful in eliminating some of that chaos, so that the entire team can work within a intended period of time. So this, thank you so much.